Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joseph Hewes. Thank you for watching my video. And I apologize for the voiceover. I shot a video up at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania today. Unfortunately, it was a kind of a windy day, and the wind kind of destroyed the audio. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the voiceover, try to hit all the marks I hit during the video. It's a shame you can't hear that. Anyways, now the purpose of this video is to share with you Joseph Hewes' Civil War heritage. Okay, now I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area, basically Maryland, presently live in the state of Virginia, and the people in this region of the country generally have a Civil War heritage, and very often it's a heritage that includes both North and South, and that is the case for me. Okay, now through one grandmother's line, we've got a Confederate line, and through another grandmother's line, we have a Union line. So I'm going to talk a little bit about both lines. Okay, now of course, right now I'm standing in front of the Confederate States of America, Army of Northern Virginia monument for Ramseur's Brigade, which is the 2nd North Carolina Infantry, and that's my one grandmother's line who was born in North Carolina. Okay, and when you think about it, now my grandmother's grandfather fought in the Civil War. My great-great-grandfather. And it's not really that big of a leap, really, when you think about it. Basically my grandmother's grandfather. Now, of course, I'm disappointed in myself. I never really asked my grandmother while she was alive about these things. I could have asked her what her grandfather, what kind of exploits he told her and told the family. And from what I understand, he did tell of all kinds of things. But unfortunately, she passed away, and I never asked her. So I can only wonder. Anyways. So I'm standing in front of this monument here, and my great-great-grandfather fought for the regiment that is memorialized in this monument. Basically, Joseph Edgar May was his name, and he fought for the Army of Northern Virginia. He fought at Gettysburg, he fought at Chancellorsville, he fought at Sharpsburg, he fought at Fredericksburg. Okay, and even at Chancellorsville, he was a part of the brigade or the division that was the lead attacking division in Stonewall Jackson's flanking maneuver, which sent the U.S. Army reeling. So I'm sure it was very interesting, very terrifying experience for everybody involved, but certainly a part of American history. Okay, now Joseph Edgar May also had some other brothers who fought in the Civil War, and I want to mention them as well. Benjamin Franklin May was killed at Chancellorsville. Turner James May, John Dixon May were his brothers that fought in the Civil War. So you had 4 brothers who went off to war. 3 of them came home, and the 3 who came home lived to very ripe old ages. Okay, now of course my great-grandfather married my great-grandmother, or my great-great-grandmother, and her name was Mary Eliza Wooten, or Mary Eliza May is the name she took when she married. And she had brothers who fought in the Civil War. I want to mention those as well. Okay, one was John Barcliffe Wooten, Lewis B. Wooten. He actually died in Raleigh in 1863 in a Confederate Army hospital. Edward Wooten, Allen Wooten, and Oscar Wooten. And Oscar Wooten was wounded at the Battle of Gettysburg and transported by U.S. Army up to the Army Hospital in Philadelphia. Unfortunately, he died a month later in Philadelphia and is buried at the Philadelphia National Cemetery. So certainly Joseph Edgar May and his wife, Mary Eliza Wooten May, made major contributions to the Confederate Army and paid the price in blood and very large sacrifices. Okay. Now, of course, the Confederate side of the equation is not the only side of the equation for my family. We've got a Union connection as well. And I was on Ancestry.com doing my family tree, and I discovered this gentleman, Francis Clay Ogle. Now, I knew I had Ogles in my family going all the way back to Samuel Ogle, who was one of the first governors of the state of Maryland during the colonial period. But I had no idea that this gentleman, Francis Clay Ogle, who turns out to be my first cousin, 4 times removed, which really isn't that distant, actually. It's kind of close to almost a direct line. And we've got letters for this gentleman, too. Now the interesting thing here is, I actually posted his picture on Facebook, And I had relatives and friends saying, "Oh my God, he looks exactly like you, Joe. He looks exactly like you." And but generally speaking, the relatives were saying, "He looks exactly like your father." And he does. He looks exactly like my father. So where, I always thought that the Hewes bloodline was the line that we resembled, and that's where we got our looks from. Evidently, it's the Ogle line that we got it from, because the Ogle line is just before the Hewes line. But anyways, Francis Clay Ogle was born in Maryland, and he moved with his family to Wisconsin, and then he volunteered on September 17th, 1861, to fight for the 1st Regiment of the Wisconsin Infantry. That was very early in the war. Things were getting pretty serious at this point, and he wanted to throw his hat in the ring. And we got some letters from this gentleman to his sister, and it seems like a very fine young man, very conscientious, very anti-slavery, very much involved in what was going on, a very good man. Unfortunately, on October 8th, 1862, he was killed in the Battle of Perryville, and I'm hoping that this video will memorialize him and recognize the sacrifice that he made for preserving the Union and for ending slavery. But anyways, this is Joseph Hewes, and I'm sharing my Civil War legacy. I encourage everyone to do the same. A lot of you have Civil War ancestors that you don't know of. All these records are online. Check with relatives who may have records, may have pictures, and post your videos. Tell us what your Civil War legacy is, your Civil War heritage, and it's a massive point in American history, and I'm happy to share it with you. Anyways, this is Joseph Hewes signing out. Thanks for watching.